All right, so we've just looked at the teacher version, then the student version, what the student looks at, and how you can comment on the student's slide. Let's look back at the teacher version. So notice that we have all the slides that we can go through. We have slide 1 all the way through. But what I want you to show you is as the kids work along, I'm going to then give them stars. And then the students can count up the stars, see how many stars they've gotten, to see how they have accomplished the standard. But we have a now you try, which is basically will show what you know. And the kids then answer these 4 questions. It's kind of like a little quiz, but it doesn't really count as a grade. It's basically reinforces whether they understand it or whether they don't understand it. So this is an excellent way of knowing if the students are understanding the objectives, the standards, or they are not understanding. All right, so I've already looked at Module 1, the overview, introduction, notes, practice, and then the assessment, which was the show what you know. Now let's go on into Module 2. All right, so let's click on Module 2. All right, agenda for Module 2. All right, number 1, overview, where our central question, learning targets, objectives. So here we're starting to learn about unit rate. And we're going to go back into Desmos, EdPuzzle, and ClassKick. You want to stay consistent with middle schoolers. They need to have consistency. They need to understand what they're doing. If you're all over the place, they're all over the place. So we're going to start off with the introduction by investigating the varying click rates of robots as they learn the need to create equivalent ratios and unit rates. All right, so here's my link for student Desmos. Then we're going to go into notes on EdPuzzle. We're going to be looking at rates and unit rates. Ratios, revision, what are ratios? So we're going to be looking at 2 EdPuzzles again because this is a block schedule. You're having to do 2 lessons in 1 class. Then we have a practice and then our show what you know. So let's start by clicking on Desmos. One at a time. We finished the balloon float yesterday or the day before. And now we're on Click Battle. So I'm going to click on Start because it told us Desmos we're doing Click Battle today. And we're going to click Go. All right. So now it says on how many clicks. On the next screen you'll see a blue button similar to the Share to Class button below. How many times do you think you'll be able to click the button in 10 seconds? So students can put whatever they think. I can click it in 20 times. And I'm going to share with the class. Well, notice that these names are anonymous. That's the cool thing, is that you can change the names to be anonymous or their actual real names. And on this one, I put their anonymous names, which are all mathematicians or scientists. So once they've done that, they can see the other students' answers. And then we're going to go to the next one. And now, here's your estimate, 20 clicks in 10 seconds. Before we test your estimate, let's see how you perform in a practice round. Click the button as many times as you can. In 5 seconds, we'll start the climber. So basically, you're going to click, and you're going to click, and you're basically saying, did you guesstimate right or not? And notice I got 29 instead of 20. I can then go to the next one, revise your estimate. You click 29 times in 5 seconds. What would you do for now 10 seconds? So I'd say about 58. And I'm going to submit. Now, I'm going to go to the next screen, and now we're going to test it. So basically, you're going through each of the screens. And then students, once they they've done their estimate, then they have 2 Desmos click bots, along with some data from the practice rounds. Which bot will click more times in 10 seconds, bot 1 or bot 2? Now notice, they've got 16 clicks in 2 seconds, 30 clicks in 3 seconds. So at first the kids are just guessing. Once they guess, they start trying to figure out, how do I know how to compare these? So they would guess it, and they have to explain their thinking. Why are they thinking that way? Which makes them start thinking a little bit further. Now, as they go on, they go through bot 3 and bot 4, and after a while the kids start realizing, wait a minute, I can figure out how many clicks they do in 1 second and compare them then. And it was great. I don't have to teach unit rate. They start figuring out themselves. So, and it takes them all through the ClickBots. Then they start applying it. All right, and it goes all the way through teaching about unit rates. And it's just an excellent activity to get kids thinking without you telling them. All right, so another thing I want to show you is the teacher version. So let me see if I can pull that up real quick. Now this is the teacher side, and notice I did the anonymous. You could have had their real names there, but let's cover those up. So if it's a dot, that means they've done it. They've gone through that section. If it's an X, that means they got it wrong. So we kind of need to look over those so we can help those kids that are not understanding. But that's mostly, I believe on this one, it was like, can you guess? So I really didn't do much of that. But once we got here, we really started talking about it, and notice most of the kids are starting to get it right. I believe this student had to leave in the middle of class. And it takes you through as a teacher side, how they did, if they got it right, were they able to, did they finish the activity or not? So this is an excellent activity that you could use in a math class. We'll go through the notes, edpuzzle.com. We're going to be looking at rates and unit rate, ratios revision. Now it will show you all of the videos on EdPuzzle. The students are to work through it step by step. They're having to realize these are the only two they need to watch. So let's look at those real quick. Okay. All right, once they're in, now notice normally with a student it would be completed. So you won't see these again because they would be past due and they're already done. But because I'm showing you this, it's not there yet. So the next thing they're going to be doing is the ratios and unit rates. So they would do both of these next. So they click on the activity, they would watch it.
What's up, everyone, and welcome to this lesson on unit rates.
All right, and they would watch it, and then they'd start answering some of the questions. So, see, it's locked because I'm looking at it as a student version. But it tells you how many. There's a multiple choice question, an open-ended question where they have to actually answer it. So you can either have multiple choice, open-ended, you can have just notes saying you need to write this down. An excellent activity. All right, so let's look. So they would be doing those two videos. Now let's look at what's next. Next, we'll be doing the class kick. All right, number 2, this is where they're going to be practicing. And in the practice, they'll have at the end, show what you know. So let's click on the class kick. All right, at this point in time, these are all of our activities. Now, first of all, this is another way that I like to work with EdPuzzle, is the students need to take a selfie with their notes from either last night or that afternoon as they're working through it. So notice right here is a camera. What the camera does is it'll let you take a selfie using your camera on your computer. And that way I can see their notes that they have done it and they just didn't just watch the video. So that's an excellent thing. And then they work through with the activities. Now these are, remember, these are not written on because the students would write on them. And then when we get to the end, oh, this is another thing. Look at the top here. Do you see this? This is basically a note from me saying, hey, let's look at this. So let's look at that real quick.
All right. Janice's goal is to practice soccer at home 30 minutes for every half of an hour lesson she takes. If she takes a 1.5-hour lesson, how many minutes should she practice at home? Guys, get it to an hour. Or there's an easier way. So you can figure it out.
All right. So basically it gives them a hint on how to do it. And there's an easier way. So basically it's telling them there's other ways to think about this. And then it goes through, just like the others, right? How many questions there were, and then show what you know. And then the students can do it at their own pace. I can check them off at any time, and we work through it that way. All right, now let's look at our digital session number 3. Let me scroll down. All right, our agenda for the day, essential question, learning target objectives. Now here we're going to be doing the same thing. We have the Desmos.com activity, and this is looking at the better deal. So we'll look at it real quick, just get a brief overview. Then we'll go into EdPuzzle.com, but there's only one activity today on EdPuzzle. then class kick, show what you know, but then we have our discussion question. So we'll quick go through those and let's look at them. This one is a better deal. We'll click on it. And what they're doing is they're making a prediction. What pack of pencils do you think is a better deal? And they will go on. What information about the pencils would help you make it a more informed choice. And they go through different scenarios. So it's just leading them into how are you going to do this? Okay? All right, let's look at the next section. So once we get, and then we click on EdPuzzle. And at this point in time, we'll click on the unit rates. Oh, this was from before, excuse me. And I'm supposed to click on the unit rates after that one. But they're going to be working on the ratios and word problems. All right, and then after that, they're going to go to class kick. So let's go there. So we have class kick. What's the better deal? So we're going to click on that. Let's look in here. The link is right here at EdPuzzle, just in case the kids didn't click on the other one and they forgot. They're always welcome to use this link right here. It clicks it. And then they put their selfie of their notes down here. And then they're going to go through the problems. First of all, which is the better buy? I've already done it for them. We've got 3 different sizes. And then they just circle which is the better buy, which would be the larger item. And then they're going to go through, right, which is the better buy, and you click on it. As you go through, it's mostly already set up for you on this side, and then you set the other one up over here, find me how much it costs per ounce, and which one is the better buy. And then as they work through, this is something I didn't tell you about, but up at the top corner, there's a little hand that they raise your hand. And it says, please check or please help. If you put please help, you're able to text me something. Or if I push please check, it tells the teacher that I'm ready to be checked. All right? And then I can put that hand down because we don't need to be checked. And then you go through it, the activity. All right? Now here, explain what a unit rate is and how do you find it. Type it below. All right, and how many you got right? All right, let's look at the next section. Once we finish the class kick, we now have a discussion question number 1. Please respond to the discussion question number 1 in the discussion tab. So over here, we have discussions. So our first discussion is right here, and this is our discussion number 1. I'm going to click on it. This is how are unit rates helpful in solving real-world problems? So they're going to type their information now that they've learned a little bit about unit rates. They're going to be able to type it here, and then they'll be able to respond to other kids' answers, comments, or questions. So now we're in Module 4. Let's look at it. Before we start this, I want to show you a couple of things I forgot to point out to you. There's a couple of things up here for students that need extra help. For example, those kids that get overwhelmed by the amount of stuff on the page, we've got it's called a line reader, where it highlights one line at a time. So those kids that get a little bit overwhelmed, they can literally highlight one line at a time. That's really cool. Then for those that have extrasensory challenges, you can literally change the colors so that it doesn't affect you as much. That's really cool. Oh, that's a little bit crazy, but you know, if it's easier for you, that's great. Another item is right here, which is a voice reader where you highlight what you want to have read, and then you click the play button. So I can click this and I can highlight what I want to have read. So let's say I want to highlight this whole thing, and I'm going to put the play button.
Overview. Essential questions. How are unit rates helpful in solving real-world problems?
So that's great for those students that have issues reading. So I wanted to show you that. But let's get back onto Module 4. Here we're going to be looking at unit rates, and we're going to looking at conversion factors. So it's very simple today because they're going to be doing an assessment, a quiz at the end. We'll look at that next. So we'll have a class kick number 4 on proportional relationships and converting measurements. Let's sign a point of time. Here's our activity. And notice right here, it's a video I embedded showing them how to do this problem. All right, so they can work it through and then write their selfie, take a selfie right down here. On the next YouTube video, it will show the ending and how we finished up the activity.